Okay, Vince. So you and I have been talking a lot about trigger leads.
Yes, we have.
So I want to bring you in camera, talk a little bit in the cage match about why you have this idiotic standpoint that trigger leads are good for consumers.
You know, it's not even so much that I think trigger leads are good for consumers, but I don't think banning them is good for consumers. That's the thing. I believe that the notion here is you got a consumer, they're going out for a loan, and I know that people get all upset if you're the originator or the broker or the lender, if all of a sudden your client, the person, your prospective borrower, because they're always a prospective borrower until a loan closes, right? So you got to work that loan the whole way through. And you get upset if somebody else suddenly pops in there and says, we got a better deal. I get that. I wouldn't understand why but the consumer should have the choice to be able to hear whether there is a better deal. They should have that choice throughout this. And by banning trigger leads, you ban consumer choice.
Oh, whoa, no. Okay, so consumers do not have a choice right now. Consumers right now have their personal information. This is something that needs to be addressed right away. To have actually my personal information, that means my credit information, my income information, all my personal details is being shared with mortgage lenders that I've not given authority to access my information. They might not be in this country.
Boy, what? I don't know, what decade were you born? Because I think you're still living in that decade. No matter what, we live in the 21st century, and our personal information is all over the place. Everybody sees it.
I love it.
We all get all these the ads that follow us online, everything. Selling personal information isn't new. You and I had this conversation.
Preference and information is two different things.
I believe
my credit data is very different than the fact actually
I can assure you that whether or not it's for a mortgage, your credit data is getting sold in many different ways around this country for many different applications and many different products. Now, it may not be as noticeable as for getting a mortgage, but that is already being sold. All of our data is getting cut up and sold. It's all out there. And I don't think you're going to be able to stop it just because a mortgage originator doesn't want a trigger lead out there. Listen, trigger leads help new originators get in the game. They help
lazy.
They still help people get into this game. And they help consumers make an informed decision. I don't think banning them is the way to go. I do think maybe creating some kind of a system that allows consumers better choice in being able to opt out and have it enforceable. Not just, frankly, for these trigger leads, but for all sorts of consumer marketing. I think that'd be great. We're a long ways from that now.
Listen, I'll say this. So originators who do work with trigger leads, they're embarrassed about it. We have a story going in our magazine where we have originators talking about actually how they want to get rid of their dependence on these trigger leads. This is not good.
I understand. Listen,
it is a dirty part of the industry.
It's not a dirty part of the industry. It's a part that you go, I would like to get beyond that. But you know what they also say? They said that's how they got started. They said that started them off. And we talk to the originators, we watch all the social media, we've seen all this stuff. How many of these folks have always said, I'm using these. Of course I use them. I'd like to find better ways to develop a business, but I've used them. Sometimes well, sometimes not, but I use them. Banning them knocks all those people out of their first step into this industry. I think that's terrible.
Okay.
I think that's terrible.
We don't need more people in this.
I tell you what, bye-bye. 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 We're out of time. Thank you, Andrew.
For more on these and all of today's top stories, go to nationalmortgageprofessional.com.